We are interrupting programming right now to bring you what is a terrible tragedy that appears to be unfolding right now in Thousand Oaks. Mark Brown along with Michelle Tuzzi, ABC7 Eyewitness News here. You were looking at Thousand Oaks, a report of a mass shooting at a nightclub there, the Borderline Bar and Grill. A number of people reported to have been hit by gunfire, an active shooting situation, one person unresponsive and being treated by paramedics at that intersection we were just looking at. Let's get more from Chris Christie in Air 7 HD. Chris.
Mark, yeah, you're right. This is the Borderline Bar and Grill. This is a country western bar, a very popular location here in Thousand Oaks, right near Rolling Oaks Drive and Moore Park Road, just south of the 101 freeway. You can see officers running in a number of directions. They have actually informed all officers to put their vests on, and this is still an active situation. I want to stress that this is still playing out. There is nobody in custody at this point. However, there are reports of multiple casualties down there on the scene. You mentioned that we did spot at least one person being attended to, apparently, possibly a first responder, as they are conducting CPR right there in that ambulance. That is just south of the 101 freeway, just about a block away from where the shooting took place. When the calls came out, and by the way, there are numerous agencies on the way out here, as well as Ventura County Sheriff's Department, Simi Valley Police Department, Thousand Oaks, all of them converging here in Thousand Oaks, but a number of people fleeing this bar when gunfire broke out about 30 or 40 minutes ago.
As far as we know, the suspect has not been neutralized. The suspect is still on the loose.
We do have a new witness report coming into us who says that this was a single individual who walked up to the bar, shot the security guard, then walked into the establishment and deployed a smoke grenade, and then began shooting people inside the bar. That's the report that we've just received from the ground.
Now, this is video just in to ABC7 from the scene as it was unfolding, and we saw one person, Michelle, that was being brought out of there. This person right here, this is an individual who appears to have been shot. You can see him very clearly there. This appears to be a civilian and was being attended to, had been carried out by friends. You see him there being carried, and then later, I believe, being placed on a gurney. Jory Rand, are you there?
You guys have us? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
We are just a little bit away. Authorities are keeping us well away from the scene here, so we're across the freeway. It looks like might be a staging area, but just getting off the freeway, we saw a pair of young women in tears. They arrived knowing that one of their sisters was inside the bar, and they have not heard from her. We also saw a young man who was at the front door when the shooting began. Chris Christie was talking about it a little bit. Let's play that interview right now.
I was to the front door. I was talking to my stepdad, and I just started hearing these big pops, pop, pop, pop. There was probably 3 or 4. I hit the ground. I look up. The security guard's dead, or I don't want to say dead, but he was shot. He was down, and and the gunman was throwing smoke grenades all over the place. I saw him point to the back of the cash register, and he just kept firing. I ran out the front door. I hear chairs being thrown out the window. People were trying to get out the window, and the gunman went behind the cash register. There was probably 12 shots before I got out the front door.
Terrifying stuff, the stuff of nightmares. It's horrible to hear about, and as the details emerge, I'm sure it's only going to get worse. We're here with Tim, that's John's stepfather. Are you okay? Are you okay to talk to us?
Yeah.
Okay. Where were you, and what did you see?
I was right next to the entrance. We were getting ready to leave. We had some pool, and some smoke came in. I guess he had rolled some smoke in, and he fired the first shot, and I knew it was live. I knew it was real. And my son thought it was a joke. So I pulled him down and got some behind cover and looked up, and he was moving to the right. He shot the front doorman, bouncer, just a young man. And then he shot the cashier, just a young girl. And then he started moving to the right. He wasn't looking at us. And he went into the office where all the cash and stuff is. He didn't say anything at all. He just started shooting. And I should have stayed till he changed his clip. But I was worried about my boy. But I should have stayed. I apologize to anybody who got hurt or passed. I'm sorry.
It's fine. There's not much you could have done in a situation like that.
But they're all young. I'm 56. I lived a life. They're all young. This shouldn't have happened to them. And it was just some low life taking lives that shouldn't have been taken.
Could you tell what kind of weapon he was using?
He had a handgun. I could tell it was allowed, maybe a 44, maybe a little smaller, but it had a good ring to it. And it was just loud, and he had smoke. He was trying to confuse people, and then he went to the right and just started shooting on the dance floor. And there were just young people, like young, 18, 19, 20, just having a great time. And this maniac came in and started shooting people for no reason at all. These people have never hurt anybody in their lives, and they're just kids. They're just kids. I'm so sorry.
So you two just got out of there as quick as you could. Could you tell how long the firing was going on?
It was constant until he changed clips, and then there was a pause. And he reloaded, and I'm sorry I wasn't right there. And he kept on going, and then he reloaded, and he kept on popping them off. And I waited for my son. He didn't follow me like I asked him to. And so I was running back to get him, and he came out. Thank you. And so I just got him out of there. She would have never forgiven me if he would have got hurt or tied. So I just got him and made sure he was okay. And then we just left, called 911. There was already an officer on the street really quick. But we had to get out of there, and I apologize for leaving.
You don't need to. You don't need to. Police got there within moments.
It still feels like I didn't do what I should have done.
You can't do anything when you're unarmed. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you guys are all right.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, guys, obviously it's such a tough situation to deal with, and it's still ongoing. And as we said, it's not going to get any easier once we start hearing the details of what's going on in there. But for now, we're going to continue to talk to witnesses here, and we'll send it back to you.
Just heartrending. Let's listen to. We've heard from more witnesses here.
Everyone was hanging out. All of a sudden, we heard a bunch of shots, obviously from a semi-automatic rifle. The police showed up. 3 of them went to the door. Currently, there's 1 officer down as they were breaching the front entrance. The other 2 pulled out. 1, I think, is still in there. And now that I think about it, there's probably 2 officers down because only 1 came out. So they both pulled out. He's still holed up inside.
I could tell you that the bomb squad has been requested to come out here, and the SWAT team has just arrived out here. I've counted at least 2 Bearcat vehicles from the Ventura County SWAT team now taking up position nearby here, and you can see a number of other officers making entry into the building here. However, the all clear seems to have been given in terms of the danger inside the building, just based on the posture that we're seeing here. But the reports coming from inside that building, Mark and Michelle, are very, very grim.
It sounds like, Chris, they're clearing out people who were hiding.
Yeah, that certainly seems to be what we're seeing here. Folks who were possibly hiding in the restroom. There was a report, an initial report, that there were upwards of a dozen folks who managed to find their way into the attic of the building. And now we see a number of people now being escorted away from the building. So certainly some good news there. Some survivors that managed to hide during this ordeal now finding their way to safety, escorted by authorities. But you can see a number of people. I've counted about a half a dozen folks being escorted out of the building.
Okay, so about 11:20 this evening, we received a call of shots fired at the Borderline Bar and Grill here in Thousand Oaks. As our first deputies arrived on scene, they also heard shots fired. Our deputies have been searching the area. It's an active scene, as you can see behind me. We can confirm that there are several people that have been injured inside the bar and grill. including one deputy sheriff that was transported. I can't tell you the condition of either the deputy or those that are injured inside. But I can tell you that this is still a very active scene, and we have obviously dozens of personnel behind me now that are trying to get to the bottom of what happened and to neutralize the threat if the threat is still active.
That is the latest, guys. We'll continue to gather information here on the scene. There's a crowd gathering behind us, some of them waiting to hear from friends, from family members who they think were inside, and we'll check back in here momentarily.
A gunman walked in, had like a submachine gun or a small caliber, and it had a big-ass magazine. He starts popping off, and then everyone ducks down, and then we start grabbing chairs and throwing them out the window.
The sergeant passed away at the hospital about an hour ago. Sergeant Hillis was on the force for 29 years, was looking to retire in the next year or so. He was a Moore Park resident and is survived by his wife and his son.
We're hearing more from the crowd that's gathering here. This is Dennis. Your granddaughter was at the borderline. Is that
she
right?
was there tonight. She was able to get out. Her friends told me she got out a window and ran out across the street. So she's safe.
I come here a lot. I dance a lot, and I was just dancing, having a good night. Normal Wednesday. And my bow was at root, so I know what gunshots sound like, and heard it go off and instantly knew. I just laid down on as many girls as I could, trying to pick as many people as I could. And then shooting kept going. They were throwing smoke bombs, and then it kind of like hit me like, okay, it's time to go to work. And then windows broke, and I just hopped out the window, and I was one of the last people out. I didn't see anybody. I didn't see any guns. And then I just ran as far as I could, as fast as I could. And then gloved up. I'm certified EMT and stuff like that, so I came right back to go to work.
I was on the dance floor dancing at the time, and then all my friends were at the table right by the door, and then I heard the gunshot, I turned around and I saw him shoot a couple more times, and within a split second, everyone yelled, "Get down." So I ran to the left of the dance floor where the back door is, and everyone pretty much dogpiled on top of each other, and then it was silent for a couple seconds, and then all of a sudden a couple guys that were closer to the bar, they got up and started running towards the back door and said, "Get up, he's coming." And so it was huge panic. Everyone tried getting up, and then trampled a couple times. Some guy came behind me, lifted me up and said, "Let's go." And then I got a bar stool thrown at my head because they were trying to break the window to get out. And we finally made it out, ran up the hill.
I got a call immediately. She did what we've always trained her to do, and that's drop your cell phone, get as far away from the shooter as you can, and don't make yourself a target. And she did exactly what she was supposed to do, but someone else had their phone, and we got a call at 11:20 last night, roughly 11:20. She started out just by saying, "Dad, there's been a shooting. I'm okay. I'm hiding in the hills. We're up here by the cactus."
What are you feeling, being able to be here and see your daughter?
Relief.
It sounds like you smashed the window out.
Yeah, we did.
Describe that.
Bar stools go through windows. It works.
I mean, I interviewed somebody who went through that window. You helped get them out, so you pulled a lot of people out.
But my brother, he just goes there a lot to have a good time. Phone call. Nope.
Network as well. They understand
Hello?
that there is also a separate news conference.
Anything on my brother?
A larger one at some point.
No, I haven't heard anything.
In the next few.
I also know that I just got briefed by our EMS coordinator. There have been people showing up at some of the local hospitals with injuries related to this incident. So there's people that left on their own and walked into ERs locally with a variety of injuries. So that number is going to go up from 11. I don't have an exact total. We're still in the early stages of this.
If you're just now waking up and you're just starting with us, we want to kind of reset what has happened and let you know what happened last night, as you very likely were asleep. At 11:20 last night, this is not overly late. This is not overnight shooting. This was at 11:20 last night. A bar, borderline bar, filled with young people, college students at Cal Lutheran and Pepperdine, over 100 people there. It was country night. And someone walked through the front door and opened fire.
We have heard all morning long from witnesses sort of rounding out the picture of what it was like inside. This horrific scene of hearing the gunshots and coming to the realization of that someone was inside just opening fire on everyone, and people just scattered. Some people were trampled. Some people went up into the attic to escape and doing whatever they could to escape, taking furniture, bar stools, and breaking out windows, and others helping people get outside.
I'm curious right now on, you know, raising him the way we've raised him. Why hasn't he picked up a cell phone, anybody's cell phone, and called home? So I don't understand where we're at this point.
Yeah, so you seem in shock right now.
I'm very, very in shock.
Again, you just heard from Jason Kaufman, Cody Kaufman's father. He is now heading over to the hospital to try and wait there and hopefully find out that his son is going to be okay.
Can you tell us about the sergeant, a 29-year veteran? He's a hero tonight.
He's absolutely a hero. He leaves behind a wife and a son. He was a 54-year-old resident of Moore Park, and he epitomized what a cop does. He's a cop's cop. When he heard the gunfire, he ran in and no doubt saved others from being victimized. As a matter of fact, earlier, a young man that was inside the nightclub came up to me and said, you know what, he saved additional people from being victims. And that's what cops do. That's what he did.
Leslie, this is Cody Kaufman. This is one of the young men missing all morning long. And unfortunately, it appears we may have gotten a bit of bad news. Here at the Reunification Center in the distance is Mr. Kaufman and his family, Jason Kaufman, who we spoke to earlier today. And Jason Kaufman had told us that he hadn't heard from his son all night long. He got a phone call about 5 minutes ago, and it unfortunately appears to have been some bad news. We had the mayor pro tem here who was consoling him. And this is unfortunately a place where many family members and friends have been coming, hoping for answers. But obviously, we had 11 people killed inside that bar and grill, and this is where they're trying to get answers to find out if their loved ones are okay.
There are now two scenes. There is the Borderline Bar and Grill where the actual incident took place, and now at Newberry Park, apparently we've learned where David Ian Long lived. Miriam Hernandez is outside the house.
That's correct. Deputies tell me that they just arrived here about a short time ago. They're preparing to enter the house. They have to wait for a search warrant to be signed off. They are now in the process of knocking on doors of neighbors, trying to find out what neighbors might know about this suspect.
Leslie, the sergeant that we've been talking with all morning with the Ventura County Sheriff's Department just came out and gave us an update, and they have identified many of the victims, he told me. I asked if all of them have been identified. He says he has a list. There are several names on it, and the families that are here right now, he was going inside to let them know the worst.
His name was Cody Kaufman, my firstborn son. Only him and I know how much I love, how much I miss. Oh, God, this is so... Oh, son, I love you so much.
Incredible stories we're hearing from people as they dealt with this tragedy. We spoke with a young man this morning who was smashing out windows, helping people climb through the windows. Dozens of people he may have saved. He's a hero this morning. And others who came running out and saw the CHP officer who was writing a ticket right here on this corner. That CHP officer was the first responder. He told them there was a shooting. The CHP officer ran over to the bar and grill 150 yards away with that sergeant from the Ventura County Sheriff's Department, and they went inside, and of course that sergeant was shot and killed. So a terribly sad situation here, and we're hearing from people firsthand as they try and deal with it.
And now another horribly sad situation, the procession of Sergeant Ron Helis.
Each one of these overpasses, there are people, law enforcement, firefighting personnel
set up as well. Scott, let's bring you in.
Look at how many people have lined Ventura Park Road over the 101 freeway. And it's such an emotional outpouring of support. It's incredible. Look at all the people on the southbound side of the freeway that have literally stopped to show their support. That's how much everyone in this community, everyone in LA County, Ventura County know what is going on. And it really is an emotional thing. And what a hero.